Hi, this is Carol Watson, and you are here for another episode of Thrive Talk. Thank you to all of you that are joining us on demand, and please do leave your questions over the next week for our fabulous guest, Lauren Tucker. Lauren is the new CEO of Cooler Heads, and we are excited to hear what she's doing, what she's launching. You can read about her bio and her progression as a data scientist at the Martin Agency and how she is now transitioning to be an entrepreneur, building out and solving for some of the most pressing marketing problems. So I want to welcome you, Lauren, to another Thrive Talk.
Thank you very much, Carol. Good to be
So
here.
to kick us off, for those of us that are not data scientists, tell us about what your passion is and what you do. What is a data scientist?
You know, I actually would rather start with you don't need to be a data scientist to take advantage of what we do, and I like to call what we do making marketers a little bit more data savvy. I think for most marketers, the critical piece of what we do is to help make the power of data and advanced analytics accessible to them, and to help them unlock the power of their own data to address big, hairy strategic marketing problems that are getting even bigger and hairier as the world is constantly in motion and is becoming more personalized and customized to consumers. So, you know, data scientists that are out there, they're doing a lot of heavy analysis of what everybody wants to talk about, which is big data. It drives me nuts because I think it's a red herring. You know, big data is a red herring for a lot of what I call your bring your lunchbox to work marketers. These are marketers that are typically what we like to call, mid-market marketers. They are there's about 200,000 of these companies in the United States that are in transition from, being rather small to now they're looking for game changers because they want to play with the big boys. And part of playing with the big boys these days is becoming data savvy. So that's what our goal is to help these marketers change the game through advanced analytics, through predictive analytics, and give them something that's both affordable and accessible through training, through education, and us providing that training and education so they feel more confident using these new tools to help drive and improve their business.
So give us a consumer example. We're all consumers of all the many products, and I think whether you're in marketing or not, we all know that there's tons of data collected everywhere we are in every aspect, and there are cookies following us around all over the computer. What happens with all this data in layman's terms, and what do you do with a marketer to help them know what to do with all the data?
Well, what's interesting is, and I like to say consumers pay you twice. First, by buying your product or service, but second, by agreeing to give you a lot of data that will help you as a marketer provide more personalized, customized services, because that's where everything's going, is mass customization, mass personalization. And the more data that a marketer has, the more they can sustain that personal engagement over time and create value, not only for the customer, but that customer creates value for the enterprise. So what we do is help our clients understand the value of their data, but more importantly, unlock the value of their data so they can identify what marketing activities not only are most effective at driving their business, but what will be those marketing activities that will drive their business. That's the predictive power of advanced analytics, and that's really where we focus. We want clients to understand before they go into the market, what are they going to get out of their marketing activities? How much should they be investing before they actually spend that money? And if they decide to spend money on whatever channels or other marketing activities, that they really understand what they're getting into. And even if the data might suggest television is not particularly going to drive revenue, or buying that Super Bowl spot's not necessarily going to drive revenue. At least marketers go into the engagement knowing that. And there may be other perfectly legitimate reasons for paying $7 million for naming rights for stadium, or paying 4-point-some million for a Super Bowl spot. It might be that it makes the company and everybody in it, employees, feel better, and there's a benefit to that. But at least they would know through the work that we do, is it actually going to drive directly the sales that we need to make our numbers for the year? As long as they know whether that's the case or not, then they can at least make some informed decisions and make a case outside of the data for doing some of the things that they're doing already and not quite having the justification for it.
So I know you've been in the space for a long time, working with some of the biggest brands. Can you give us an example of how you've worked with a brand in a campaign and used data in a way that you thought really leveraged the science?
One of the most easily accessible ways of using data and data sciences is really understanding the consumer, understanding which one of those consumers is going to return the most value to the organization, and then being able to identify lookalikes, being able to predict which consumers are going to connect with that brand. Today, marketers have access to, especially packaged goods companies who always were challenged with getting data they could use, primarily because it's not a direct sale situation. You now have access to great data through MRI and through Simmons, which are syndicated data sources that have years and years of data linking consumers to brands. So at the Martin Agency, what we did was we analyzed that data to identify what we called core brand fans, those customers that bought a lot of the product, engaged with the product. MRI and Simmons, they're old names in the business of advertising, but these are new ways of using them, and we were the first to really get the respondent level data from these companies and really start to help our clients build predictive models to show them where they could find the most valuable customers who were more likely than other consumers to buy Cool Whip, to buy Stovetop. So we used it a lot for our craft engagements, for BF Goodrich. And what we did was we used that data to develop very rich personas of the most valuable and the most growable consumers, and then handed that off to the creatives who, for them, it made it a lot easier to talk to Ellen, the Renaissance mom, who was very interested in teaching her kids to cook, taking them to restaurants, giving them, a higher level palate. And so the Renaissance mom became much easier for creatives to talk to. They could talk to Ellen. They could create around Ellen rather than creating around women 25 to 54 who eat a lot of desserts or, serve a lot of desserts to their kids, etc. And so this enabled the creatives to build more relevant messaging, more relevant campaigns that really captured what these Renaissance women wanted to know, wanted to connect with.
Well, that sounds great. It sounds like hopefully there won't be any more crazy ads if there are more of you helping brands. So tell us about what Cooler Heads was inspired from, what the name came from, and what you hope to do, what niche you hope to position yourself in the industry.
Well, I think I've been in the advertising business for almost 25 years, maybe a little bit more. I'm not going to go there, but yeah, but throughout that time, one of my biggest frustrations really was the inability of the agency to help clients really understand what they were going to get for their marketing dollar, to understand before they went into the marketplace, what is it that marketing is doing for me, and more specifically, what is it that this agency is doing for me? And it was frustrating being part of the agency, knowing intuitively that we were helping brands, we were driving business. And so when I got to the Martin Agency, I really started to take my training in advanced analytics from the University of Wisconsin, which quite frankly, I never had anticipated using. Luckily, I had good advisors who forced me into taking and minoring in advanced analytics, and who knew it was going to be so important in my life. But I was able to take some of these techniques and process innovations that I had been working on as the director of planning at Henderson Advertising down in South Carolina, to begin to infuse what we did at the Martin Agency, not only with data, but with predictive data that would help our clients go in with more confidence, be more confident about whether the work was going to work, and help them take bigger chances. And as we know, being brave these days is the key to compelling creative that cuts through the clutter. And so that was kind of the beginnings of the idea. During the years, what we ended up doing was developing far more sophisticated tools than could be sold within an agency environment. Many of the tools, quite frankly, clients needed to feel that there was an independent, objective voice, especially when it came to understanding how much to invest in what channels, and whether they should be doing television or magazines, etc. So we got so much call for that we decided that after having been incubated at the Martin Agency since 2006, it was time to move forward and really take advantage of the opportunity that was out there as an independent organization. And so, what we did do, and we continue to work with Martin Agency, what we did do is deepen the agency's commitment to analytics, but we're now able to take on even more interesting challenges that help marketers at a higher level drive their business forward.
So what types of brands are you dying to get your hands on? Who do you think can use your services the most?
What's interesting is all of the opportunity really in the B2B space. Everybody, of course, feels as though the B2C area is the sexier area. But when we worked on Penske, the really exciting, it was Penske Transportation Services, and while they do have a direct-to-consumer retail business, their DIY moving business, most of their revenue comes from business to business, logistics, commercial leasing, commercial truck sales. And for us, that was really exciting because the B2B arena is now realizing that sales cannot create the kind of dramatic growth that they need. Direct sales teams cannot create the dramatic growth they need to get to the next level. And so, the B2B businesses are now looking towards marketing to help them drive dramatic growth. These marketers are relatively new in their business, in these businesses. They've either been marketing managers or maybe the direct marketers. They're now starting to emerge in the CMO at the CMO level, and they're looking at an organization that wants them to justify the investment that they're making in marketing, and that certainly was the case with Penske. And so, as a result, we did a lot of really interesting projects, helping the logistics and leasing divisions really understand not only who their best customers are, but to do what we did was elegant database segmentations, which really unleashed the value of the data that they were getting in. And that's the beauty of B2B, is that they have been collecting a lot of data for years as a result of their direct marketing efforts through direct sales.
So you're starting with launching your new baby. I'm sure you have a big vision for how you wanted the business to evolve and the type of culture and organization you want to create. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you want to put this team together? What kind of business do you want Cooler Heads to become?
Well, I was very proud of the fact that when I was at the Martin Agency, 50% of my team were women. Analysts, data scientists, and consultants. And I was very proud, not only proud of that, but proud of the fact that of that team, there were 16 people at its height. A good third of them were also people of color, so Latinos, African Americans, and Asians. And so, now that I'm on my own, I want to continue to press forward with that. My business partner and I are very committed to helping make data sciences and advanced analytics accessible to women, to underrepresented minorities, and to veterans. Because this is a real growth area. There's great career potential, and we believe in helping people who want to embrace this area, and we think that we're walking the walk when it comes to diversity in data and technology, and that's a big commitment. So much so that we are investing a significant percentage of our revenue in organizations like the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Richmond. We're sponsoring a robotics team to get kids excited about STEM. We're also investing in a couple of organizations devoted to helping mid-career folks learn coding. And as far as the actual hiring, we've been able to get much of the band back together, and so have some very smart, accomplished women who are looking to get the flexibility they need. They have still young children, but they're extremely smart. One's a PhD, one is working on her dissertation, and these are women who can do great work but need to stay home for a lot of the time to manage their households. But they can do this kind of work at home, and when it's time to meet with clients, get on phone calls, etc., they're tremendous. They're tremendously powerful women that can unlock the potential of this business.
Well, I'm excited to see how you are going to teach the rest of the industry how they can be more diverse, whether it's gender or ethnicity, and to really move that needle. What are your thoughts around what the challenges are in the industry as we kind of wrap up a little bit? Can you give us a little taste? I know that's probably a whole nother Thrive talk, but just give us a little taste of your thoughts around.
Well, my mantra in this is that, diversity takes champions, not cheerleaders. And unfortunately, there are a lot of times when it's hard to tell the difference. But cheerleaders, they stand on the sidelines and hope you win. Champions get in the game with you and help you win. And I think it's easy for cheerleaders, and whether it's Intel or IPG or some of these other organizations, who I think mean very well, it's easy for them to throw a lot of money at it and say they're really working on building that pipeline. But I've been in this business, as I said, for 25 years, and all of these companies have been working on this pipeline since I was starting in the pipeline. And yet not a lot has changed, especially at the mid to upper ranks and then in the C-suite. I think that's where it takes more than money to make diversity work. These leaders who are willing to spend their money also need to invest their own political and social capital to groom people who are at the mid-level to take over these positions in the C-suite. And I haven't seen that kind of investment. It's going to take them having skin in the game, backing the play of some of these folks, and making sure that if they stumble along the way, that they're there to help them get up and keep moving forward. I haven't seen a lot of that, and that to me is what it's going to take if we're going to see genuine diversity where it counts, and that's going to be in the executive offices.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you, and it's an important conversation that is not happening enough. So we always ask as we wind down what our guests are using to thrive, not just the fun exercise and food stuff, but what can we take away from your journey, from your passion, from your transition into this new amazing chapter that you're about to approach? What have you used to thrive? What's working for you?
I think what I've learned over the years is that, we can talk about, diversity and so forth, needing champions, but everybody has to be their own champion. And I think that's the really critical piece. If you don't place bets on yourself, then it's going to be hard to ask other people to do that. And I think Cooler Heads Intelligence is the culmination of my willingness to champion myself and to place a bet on myself. And one of the other things I'm learning is don't allow yourself to have a plan B. You have a plan B, you'll end up taking that plan. If you're really going to place your bet on yourself, you got to go all in. And it's scary and exhilarating at the same time, but it is something that if you want it, whether you're on your own or whether you're in a corporation, you gotta take the chance on yourself. And sometimes it'll pay off, and sometimes it won't. But if you just stand there waiting for somebody else to back your play, and you're not willing to do it as well, then you're going to lose.
Well, I think you'd be a good person to gamble on for sure. I'm definitely excited to watch your journey as you really teach the rest of the industry how things should be done. Thank you, Lauren. Any parting thoughts? Any parting words for the Thrive community?
The only thing I would say is, you and I have known each other for a long time, and I think it really helps to have somebody like you in my corner to support and cheerlead and champion along the way. You need both, but you've been a real champion, and I really appreciate that.
Well, my pleasure. I'm glad to have you as part of the Thrive community. Share your questions, any comments. Lauren, I'm sure, will be happy to respond to that. And join us for another episode of Thrive Talk next week. Thank you all, and have a great day.